welcome back to another episode of FPL Squad Picks. It's game week 5. Thanks for joining me. In this video we're going to take a look at some weekly tips, transfers and strategies. If you like this video, please give it a like and hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell not to miss more content coming soon. So to start things off, let's take a little look at how my team got on for the game week 4. So I finished the week on 75 points. I was really happy with that score. It saw a few clean sheets in the back line and a few attacking returns as well. Overall, this gave me a green arrow, which saw my overall rank slashed in half and rose up to 175,000th place. The transfers that I made for this week were Bruno Fernandes out to bring in Jota. This also saw Tony leave my team to bring in Ronaldo. So I managed to do this using 2 free transfers that I rolled over from a previous game week. So I was really pleased I was able to bring in Ronaldo and not take a 4-point hit to do so. Also, with Firmino out for a short while, Jota coming in was a really good asset to have, and by having the 1.7 million left in the bank, I was able to make this move bang on the money. I did make this transfer at the deadline, but it was a move that I had planned for quite some time, and I was pleased that no price rises affected the amount of money that I had from the bank to be able to make this move. If I did need to save on the extra 0.1 million, this probably would have seen me bring in Torres instead of Jota, but I still think Jota has the better fixtures coming up, and both players are equally at risk of a bit of rotation. As difficult as it was to make a move and get Bruno out of the team, I knew that he still had the capability of scoring points, and I know that he will continue to do this throughout the season. I just believe Ronaldo has a slightly higher ceiling potential for points, and it's still unknown if he will take the penalties as well from Bruno. So even though Bruno still managed to get a return in a Newcastle fixture, my thinking was right in going for Ronaldo, seeing that he got a double points return with 2 goals, and having him as my captain this game week certainly helped boost my score. My team also got some more attacking returns across the midfield, with the ever consistent Salah and Greenwood. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case for the West Ham players, and saw a -1 for Antonio with a red card, meaning he'll miss out in this game week 5. I was expecting a little bit more from that fixture, thinking that there might have been quite a few goals in that game, but the 0-0 still managed to pick up 6 points for a clean sheet for Soufal. Gaining those extra defensive points this week really helped get me up to that 75-point marker, but also an assist from Trent and some bonus points gave him a double-digit haul. Moving on to game week 5, let's have a little look at the fixtures. So I've done a little piece here where we focused in on where we can potentially pick up some points and which games and teams are the best ones to focus in on. I have done a little key there at the top right hand corner which shows attack, defence and goals in 3 different colours. And if you match those colours to the fixtures listed below, this will give a good indication of where I think the points can be picked up, and if that will be in either attacking positions or defensive. So I won't go through every single fixture, but I'll certainly pick out some of the ones that I'll be looking into. Some of them just for this game week, but also some of them that might pick up some players that have a good run of fixtures coming up. So if we kick things off with the beginning of the list there, we've got Newcastle versus Leeds. Now both these teams have been conceding quite heavily against some of the big hitting teams, so I think this fixture could see some good goals across it. At the moment, I'd probably focus in more on the Leeds players for this fixture, and specifically their attackers. I think they have a high potential to get some good points in this game, not only because of the leaky defence in Newcastle, but I believe that Wilson is still out for Newcastle, which will slightly minimise their attacking potential, and I think there's a much bigger potential to pick up points across that Leeds attack in RAPHINHA, Harrison and BAMFORD, and now even James adding to that as well. So the reason I've gone for a blue colour across this fixture, instead of just going for Leeds in green and heavy on the attack, is Leeds do have some defensive errors in them at the moment, and especially with missing out on a few players. With Struijk getting a red card in the last fixture, which means he'll miss out in this fixture, could see a reshuffle at the back for them. And with this slight change in defensive setup, this could see someone like an Alan Saint-Maximin, an Almiron or Joe Linton sneak a goal in. Another fixture that I'll be focusing on is the Liverpool-Crystal Palace game. This sees a Liverpool side that are in strong form, especially after scoring a few goals in not only the Premier League match of last week, but the Champions League game as well. Even though Crystal Palace are high on confidence right now, after a decent win last week against Spurs, that was against a 10-man Spurs team that haven't hit the same form as of last season yet, and I think this Liverpool team are a lot more set and will cause Crystal Palace a lot more issues. So for the Liverpool side of things, I've gone for both attack and defence. There's a potential for a clean sheet and also to pick up some good attacking returns. In my team, I currently have 3 Liverpool players. That consists of Trent, Salah and Jota. Both Trent and Salah scored in the midweek Champions League fixture, so I'd be hoping to see some attacking returns similar to that again this week. Next up is Man City v Southampton. Again, Southampton were able to hold a West Ham team last week to a 0-0 draw, but I think Man City just have far too much firepower for them and will break them down quite easily. Man City are also coming off a high-scoring victory in the Champions League midweek, managing to put 6 goals past RB Leipzig. Now, a team like Leipzig obviously do come out and attack a lot more than a Southampton team will, so they might be facing more of a low block. But if Man City manage to get at least 1 goal in within that first half, this could see Southampton open up and the goals start flying in. You could also look at Man City defensive assets for this fixture, as even though Southampton managed to keep West Ham out last fixture, they were also unable to score themselves against a West Ham team that have been known to let a few goals in. So this could see another clean sheet for Man City too. Another fixture that might come up with a few more goals is the Aston Villa versus Everton game. Last week Everton saw them go 1-0 down to a Burnley team, but after some consistent pressure and some words from Rafa Benitez, come back to win that game 3-1. So it seems as though, even though they are missing DCL at the moment through injury, the rest of the team have stepped up and the goals seem to be coming across that midfield. Last week's game did see quite a quiet Richarlison, which might not suit him being the standalone number 9 up top. Even though we've not seen great things from Aston Villa so far, they do have a lot of attacking potential, and I'm sure that it's just a little bit of time as a few new players are still waiting to bed in and getting used to the Premier League. But if both these teams start pushing for the win, we could see a few goals across this game. Next up is the West Ham versus Manchester United fixture. As mentioned earlier in the video, Antonio will miss this game due to a 1-match ban from the red card, which could open up the opportunity for their new midfield signing to come in. It could see someone like Yarmolenko come off the bench to play as a number 9, or they may even opt to push someone forward like Bowen or Ben Rama. But even though on paper you would lean maybe towards Manchester United managing to get a few goals in this fixture, I think this game could be a bit of a mixed bag, as United have been known to let a goal slip in now and again across the last few fixtures. But you'd like to think after their Champions League loss to Young Boys midweek, they'll have a bit of a point to prove, and I'm sure it will see more of a familiar starting 11 for the United team. Lastly, we have Tottenham Hotspurs versus Chelsea. Now, in previous seasons, I'd say this would probably be a quite close encounter, and I'm sure if Spurs see a Son return to the team and manage that same partnership that we saw last season between him and Kane, they could cause Chelsea some issues. But looking at Chelsea so far this season, in both the Premier League and Champions League, they just look like they've got so much strength and depth, with not only having a really tight defence, but also a lot of attacking potential, not only to start the game, but to come off the bench. It may not be a massive goals, but I do think certainly Chelsea have the capability to keep Spurs out and get the win in this game. If you like this video, please give it a like and hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell not to miss more content coming soon. If you'd like to keep up to date with the latest video posts, locked in team selections, and chat during the game week, then you can follow me on Twitter at FPL Squad Picks. So here's my Game Week 5 team as it currently stands before I've made any transfers. And the obvious glaring issue there is the big red banner behind Antonio's name. So obviously he's going to miss this game week, which does present a little bit of an issue to sort out. And minus both Foster and Obafemi, who are both securely going to be on my bench, I don't think I'll be looking to solve those issues just yet. So with the situation around Antonio currently for this game week, I've got a few options. So let's take a look at where we could go with this. So my thinking this game week is firmly around where the valuable move will be this game week. Now, there's a potential to take out Antonio and bring in BAMFORD to target that Newcastle v Leeds fixture that we mentioned earlier in the video. Now, this does give me 3 Leeds assets, and to be honest, I think it's probably more wise just to focus on the attacking assets of Leeds more so than the defensive, but Ayling isn't someone that I depend on week to week. He is someone that I can bring on in emergencies such as this one. So that being said, another option would be to bench Antonio, not make a transfer, and play Ayling instead. I think there is an argument that could be made to bring in Armati instead of Ayling, but that's something I'll have to look into a little bit more regarding if Armati is still starting or if Vestergaard will then take his place. Now, I'd like to think that hopefully Leeds could keep a clean sheet against the Newcastle side, but as mentioned earlier, with Leeds losing one of their starting defensive assets, this will see a slight reshuffle at the back that could slightly weaken their defence. Going back to which move I think will be the most valuable, in terms of maximising points this game week, I could quite easily take out Antonio, put Bamford in, hoping that he gets some good attacking returns, and put Ayling on the bench. I have had a brief look at the Game Week 6 team and what my lineup would be for that game week, and honestly I probably could get away with not making a transfer next game week. That's albeit without any issues around injury or red cards. But being that I've now used my double transfer last week, I am quite keen to get that back as soon as possible. Even though I do still have my wild card, and if I do need to make a lot of changes in one game week, or address a fixture swing across a lot of different teams I don't have players for, such as Chelsea in Game Week 7. Sometimes having those 2 free transfers is just enough to solve the problems in your team without having to use the wildcard chip and saving it for that rainy day. So for instance, when Ronaldo got signed to Man United, I had those 2 free transfers and money in the bank, which allowed me to bring both Jota and Ronaldo straight in without taking a points hit, which saw a lot of other managers having to make hits just to get some of these players in. So I think this transfer could come down to the deadline again, and something that I'll be keeping a close eye on is how West Ham do in the Europa League, because this could give some indication for if Benrahma plays and if he gets a full game in that Europa League, which might see him miss out in the Premier League for a rest. But I think it's more likely that without Antonio in that fixture against Man United, he'll probably play across both fixtures and just have his minutes managed. So aside from that, I can't see any other issues really that I need to address. And I know a few managers within the FPL community are looking to potentially take out someone like Benrahma because they play Man United. But if I am able to get through this game week and hold on to Benrahma, even if he does just get me the 2 points perhaps, next week see them play Leeds and then Brentford the week after. So they've got some decent fixtures to come up. Plus then if I do hold on to Antonio, it's the same thinking. He has 2 decent fixtures coming up straight after this game week. So for me, my 2 options are balancing up between, do I keep Antonio and hold a transfer, play this starting 11 that I have on screen now, which leaves me with 2 free transfers to make in the coming game weeks, or do I go for broke and trying to score as many points as I can in this game week by bringing in Bamford, who will also see Leeds face off against West Ham in the following game week, and also play against Watford in Game Week 7, which are 2 decent fixtures that could see Bamford return. And even though Bamford's stats have been looking pretty good, this would mean going forward without Antonio in my team. So for me at the moment, I am leaning towards keeping Antonio and keeping the transfer. And just a quick mention regarding the current defensive lineup, I could also play Amati in place of Soufal, as I will be expecting a Manchester United goal, so that clean sheet for Soufal would probably disappear. But I'm still uncertain about Amati's place in that starting 11, and I know that Soufal has the potential for attacking returns down that wing with crossing balls in. So even though I'm accepting there could be a potential loss there for the clean sheet, I think there's a higher potential for an attacking return than it would be for bringing in Amati. So also to mention, I've got my captaincy currently on Salah and Ronaldo down as vice captain. Again, I'm probably expecting both these players to hit returns in these fixtures. It's just weighing up who will get the most points out of the 2. So at the moment I've gone for Salah over Ronaldo. I've also noted there Jota and Greenwood, as they both have exactly the same fixtures within the same teams as Salah and Ronaldo, and if you were looking for a differential this game week, they've both been pretty consistent across the opening fixtures of the Premier League, so it could be good for a punt on captaincy. But for me, I think I'd probably want to stick with the premium hitters, not to mention that Salah definitely has penalties, and there's still a question mark over Ronaldo, but he probably will be taking those from Bruno. So I thought I'd include a little bit of extra news here at the end, just to focus in on some forward options, as I know a lot of the FPL managers would have had Antonio, and they're in the same position as myself in thinking if they switch out for someone else. And prior to this game week, Dominic Calvert-Lewin was mentioned quite a lot, as Everton's fixtures are pretty good going forward over the next couple game weeks. But Benitez has confirmed that he is carrying a muscle strain, and I believe he also has a broken toe, so will definitely be out for the foreseeable future. Now, I also wanted to give an update on Bamford's rumoured injury news. So this stemmed from the post-match interview that he gave last week, and the cameras flicked to him a little bit too quickly, and the microphones did pick up him mentioning that his hamstring was pinging. Now, there's been a lot of FPL discussion around this to say that has he picked up an injury, and that's why he was referring to his hamstring as pinging, or was it just the amount of running, saying that his legs were a bit fatigued? But in today's press conference, Bielsa has come out and said that Bamford is fit and ready to play. So any managers looking to make that switch from Antonio to Bamford this game week, in terms of availability, it seems like so far, from the time of recording this video on Thursday this week, he's available for selection. Well, I hope that's helped give you a little bit of information and given you some points to think about your own team and transfers this week. Feel free to leave a comment below about your transfer plans or any other questions you would like answered for your team this game week. If you like this video, please give it a like and hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell not to miss more content coming soon. Thanks for watching.